So, Yali Madad, once again, we will try to keep it in English as much as possible. There are some terms that we will use in Urdu or Gujarati or whichever language that that is proper at that time. So normally this is actually our first beginning class as we finished our previous sessions week or 2 weeks ago. So in our first class, normally we talk about the importance of the dini knowledge. As in our worldly matter, our parents, people around us, even the announcements and the Faramin and Jamaatana, we see a lot of emphasis is given to higher education. But one of the Farman that is, I think, most uh, important Farman on knowledge is that the worldly or scholarly education is there so you may understand your religion better. I don't know if you have heard of this Farman or if you remember this Farman. But Mullah emphasized that education is not there just so you can go out and make money, but education is there so you may understand your religion better. The knowledge of the religion, and once we start giving examples, we will see that when we have no knowledge of our religion, we're still following our religion, but we're not benefiting from it as we should. For example, an educated person, when he goes and look for a job and when he does have a good job, he would make much, much more money than a person who's not educated. So a person with great education or degrees would probably make 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times more money in same hour as a non-educated person compared to $8 an hour to $80 an hour. So we see in the worldly matter, education gives you greater benefits. Same way in religion, when we understand our own religion, and then when we go to Jamaatana, then when we listen to Faramin, when we listen to Ginan, even the articles that are read on Chandra or any other occasions, we understand much, much better than we would have understood without the knowledge. And let's take some example. What do we mean by that? We think that we know our religion because we were born into it. We went to REC. Our parents taught us a lot of things. We know our dua. We know maybe some ginans. We may remember some faramin. But the basic things we don't know. And sometimes we think we know, but we don't. For example, going to Jamaatana, we may have a question that how come we can go to a masjid, we can go to a church, but we don't let other Ismaili come to Jamaatana. Other non-Ismailis, you don't let them come to Jamaatana. Why? How come we don't say namaz when we call ourselves Muslim? How come we don't have a traditional 30 days roza when we call ourselves Muslim? What about the zakat? What about the hajj, jihad? How come in masjid a woman cannot offer a prayer in the front being a pesh imam, but in a Jamaatana, a woman, a girl, even a young kid can offer a dua? What about dua karani? What about niyaz, chanta, nandi, awal sufro, hey zinda when we come to Jamatana? Do we really understand all this, or do we just do it because our parents taught us or told us, or we just watched them and we learned? So we're just following it blindly because they were doing it and we trust them, so we do it. Sometimes we even call ourselves good smiley because we go to Jamatana every day. And we think that we are really good smiley because we are doing dua, we go to Jamatana every day, we put our dasan 100% correctly, and we are happy. Can you imagine if we knew more about our religion, and then if we would follow with that greater understanding, how happy would that make us? So let's take a couple of examples now. Out of all those examples we just talked about, let's take very first example, Hey Zinda. If I would ask you, why do we say Hey Zinda? You may say, well, my mom taught me that when you enter Jamatana, you're supposed to say Hey Zinda. I even heard in Ginan કે જ્યારે જમાથાને આવો તો હે ઝિંદા બોલાવજો. And we understand hai zinda meaning he is living. Okay, all that is correct and true. So we already know he's living, so why we are saying he's living? And everybody who's sitting in Jamaatana also knows that Imam is living. So who are we announcing this to? And you're supposed to say this aloud. And people will respond back to you by saying Kayam Paya. So, okay, first person comes in and says Inda, second person comes in and says Inda, third person comes in and says Inda. So now we all know, even if he had forgotten, because three people have said it, now we know he's living, and people will respond, and he always is present. So we already know now. When the fourth person comes in, now it doesn't make any logic after that. If there was the reason we were saying Hazinda. But in our tariqah, there is no hocus pocus. Every single action that we take, from the time that we enter the Jamaatana, all the kiriyas until we leave. And that include Nadi and even shoes company. Every single thing has a deeper meaning to it. And if we understand those deeper meaning, and then when we go to Jamaatana, you will do everything, every single action that you would take, you will enjoy it because you understand it. So back to Hazinda. Hazinda is actually our baya to the Imam of the time. We would not remember when our mother and father, our parents, took us for baya when we were born. We were maybe a week or two old, and they took us for baya. And in the bayat, Mukhi Sahib would say that we accept your child and we're going to give this back to you. And one of the condition in the bayat is that we will always follow the living Imam. We will always follow the living Imam. And we will obey his farman. That is our bayat to the Imam. And in our tradition, whenever Imam comes physically in Darbar, in Didar, or if we go to Eglomont and he grants us the appearance and gives us Didar, the very first thing a Momin supposed to do is the Bayah. Think about that Azimab invites us and we go to Eglomont. The first thing we would do, we will take his hand and we will repeat our Bayah and do a Dasposi. That is the tradition that we're supposed to do when you see the living Imam, the present Imam. Because we believe Imam is present in Jamaat-khana, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to do our Bayah. But if you don't think Imam is in Jamaat-khana, if you don't feel he's in Jamaat-khana, if you cannot see him in Jamaat-khana, then there is no reason to do Bayah. So what was the first thing? Because you believe he is in Jamaat-khana. So I'm going to stop here for a second. If Mulaba was in Jamaat-khana physically today, how would we behave in Jamaat-khana? Would we behave the way we normally behave in Jamaat-khana? Or our demeanor will be different? It would be different, right? What will the first thing we will do? We will get there early a little bit. Right? We will not just rush in. We will not be talking to anybody. We will be doing our tasbih. Right? And we will be trying to take as much didar as possible and try to observe it as much as possible. So do we believe Mullah is alive and always present in Jamaat-khana? If our answer is yes, then saying Hazinda makes sense. So what we are saying? Ya Mullah Baba, we believe you are in Jamaat-khana, Hazinda. You are present in Jamaat-khana, I see you. And I'm going to repeat my Bayah to you. Meaning, I will always follow a living Imam. Meaning your Faramin, whatever you say, there's a Faramin I will follow. So now think about it today when we go back to Jamaat-khana today, this evening, and when we say Hazinda, are we going to say Hazinda the way we did say Hazinda yesterday? Yesterday we just said it blindly. We had no idea why we were saying it. Most of the people don't know. They just say it because their parents said it. That's it. But knowing this and having that feeling and the belief and the trust, we will say, Molapa, you are there, Hazinda, and then we look for the Didar too. Our way of sitting, our way of going to Jamaat-khana, our dua, all that will change because of this one small portion up front. It will change completely. And you will see in Jamaat-khana, some people comes in to Jamaat-khana very, very seriously. And then you will see other people that comes into Jamaat-khana, masti karte hoge, baatein karte hoge, running around. No concept of, the Jamaat-khana or the prayer hall especially is a place that you come for peace and dua and prayers. And there are other people around you who are serious in their prayers. And when we do that, we are not only disturbing ourselves, but we are also disturbing them, people around us. But this understanding, our action will change. And that's a very small example of our tariqah and how deep the meanings are in our tariqah. So let's come in and think of the second one, dua karani. Why do we go in front of Mukhi Sahib, Kamle Sahib, or whoever he assigns to sit on pod, and we say our our dua or whatever we wish to say, and why is there money involved in dua? And especially we hear a lot that it bothers people because money is involved. Do we know that money is not necessary nor is important to do our dua? You don't have to give any money to do your dua. You don't need any money to do your niyaz or chanta. And everything that is required of us, which is a 3-time dua, and when we go to Jamaatana, the niyaz and the dua and chanta, none of them require any money. Money is our offering from our heart to the Imam, and that is because in Quran it is said, O Prophet, take the money from them and in return pray for them, so may Allah forgive them their sin. So it is Shariat-e-Ilahi that He has put that on the people, not because Imam needs your money, so he may do a good favor to you in return. But then again, money is not required. That is just our offering to the Imam, is not part of the rites and ritual. We think it is a part of rites and ritual, but it's not. And some part of the world, and if you go to those Jamaathanas, you will not see those pyalas on the pot. The pyalas are not there. You just go to Mukhi Sahib and you say your dua and he will give you khana vadan and he will pray for you and you go about your business. You go to niyaz and you just drink your niyaz. There is no money pyala there. Because if money was part of the rites and ritual, then it would be universal in all Jamaatanas. But then some part of the world, that is not the case. This is something we wanted to do and we are doing it. It's not part of our tariqa or part of our religion, nor part of our rites and ritual. And then we also see some people asking for different du'as like Memani, Mushkil Asan, Rwani ki Mushkil Asan. And we do all kind of different du'as. And yes, we can ask for different du'as, or we can do all those niyats up front before we get to the part. And what am I saying here? While we are standing in the line, that is not the time for gossiping or talking. As you would see, a lot of people, that is part of your social life while you are in the line. That is not right. Because that is your individual time to talk to Mulaba. Set your intention of that dua that you are about to do. That is your time. The 30 seconds, 1 minute or 2 minutes that you have in the line, you should be focused on what you are about to ask. Again, if Mulaba was sitting there, how would you act? And that's how you're supposed to act when you go to Mukhi Sahib. Because Mukhi Sahib is the manifestation of the Imam in the Jamaatana. He is representing Imam at that time. So are we giving the same respect to Mukhi Sahib as we would to Imam if we were sitting there? So those are the questions, those are the thoughts that we should have in our mind when we go to Jamaatana. How to act how to follow. And if you don't understand something, it is okay to ask. Hey, why am I doing this? Why do I have to do all this different dua? Why do I have to do niyaz? Why niyaz is only on Friday, not on Thursday and Wednesday? Why do we have a niyaz on Chandra? Why do we have a beach when Friday and Chandra comes together?
Why do we have morning here?
And why do we have a niyaz every day in the morning?
Not a big.
Those are all valid questions because again, if we are elite society and we're supposed to be knowledgeable people, then how come when it comes to our religion, we have no knowledge of our religion? We follow it, but we have no knowledge of it. We're just doing it because somebody told us to do. And what do we call those people who just copy other people? What do we call them? What do we call them? Huh?
Monkey.
Monkeys. No, we are intellectual, you know, we are educated. We don't just follow people because people are doing things.
In Urdu we say Ashraful Makhluqat.
Yes.
You know what it is?
क्या इंग्लिश में क्या होगा अशरफुल
The
मखलूकात
best
का?
creation of Allah.
Yeah. So here I'm going to stop for a second so we have a chance to ask question and then we will move forward to some of the other rites and rituals.
Do you have any questions, huh?
Yeah, I just have questions about the soul.